Hey guys, welcome to Lisa Out Loud. Lisa here. I know I haven't been on for a couple of weeks, but I've been dealing with some stuff and trying to get some things done, I guess you could say. But hey, I wanted to share with you because I came across this podcast today and it was with Lisa Bailu. I think that's how you pronounce her name. No disrespect intended. She's amazing. I think she's British or Australian. I'm not sure, but her podcast has some really incredibly wonderful content. Anyway, so she was interviewing this man named Richard Grannon, and he is one of the creators of a film called The Narcissist Playbook. The interview was so insightful. He was so good at giving examples of gaslighting and just the way that you are treated in these type of relationships, not only with just narcissists but with psychopaths and the different categories of narcissists. I don't know if that matters much. I mean, there are different categories and people with antisocial behavior disorders and all kinds of all up the narcissist alley basically. So anyway, after the interview I was super interested in this film, so I went to look it up, and I watched the trailer, which it seems like it's going to be great. And it's launching, what's today, the 23rd, so it's launching on the 24th and 25th. And you can go to the narcissistplaybook.com and check this out. Anyway, I was looking at the resources, and on the other side of this, they also have the Survivor's Playbook, which I thought was really cool. So I'm checking through it, and they have the Survivor's Playbook AI. So I thought, I'm going to check this out. So, I've been going through a lot of stuff this week in particular, kind of beating myself up for just what I do, everything basically. So I started just talking into this AI and just kind of saying, how I was feeling and everything that I've been feeling, like lately. I literally wake up. I have all the best intentions for the day. I have the plan. I have it laid out. I have a list, I'm going to build this. I'm going to do that. And then something happens. And I feel stuck, foggy, unmotivated, sad, tired. Almost like, no, I don't even want to say that. It's not almost like I'm back where I started, but it's because that was really bad. But it is a step backwards. Then I start judging myself. And that is the worst thing you could possibly do. Questioning, why is this still happening? Why can't I just get over it? Why is it taking so long? What's wrong with me? But something in that app, after I was telling it how I felt, it reminded me that it really actually hasn't been that long. Even though it's been 4.5 years and a couple of months, this survival app, I'm going to call it, that I talked into today, reminded me that it hasn't been that long. And I kind of thought, you know what? Wait a minute. You're right. Because for years, I wasn't allowed to heal because every few months there was something new happening. It took 3.5 years to get to the divorce, another year to get to the final settlement. And then only a few months later, another legal filing came. So when I really thought about the actual timeline, I realized that every time I start rebuilding, something happened that forced me right back into survival mode. I wasn't failing to heal. My healing kept getting interrupted. If that makes sense. It did. And that's different. In between all of the legal battles, I wasn't sitting around doing nothing. I went back to work. I went to trade school. I got my license. I started to build a business. I learned new skills, new AI skills. I was building in between. I kept trying to build. And I kept getting met with a stop sign. And then that instilled fear. Let me rephrase that. It was continuing the fear that I already felt while I was in the relationship. Now the fear keeps going. It keeps finding a way. Another filing, another accusation, another reminder. Another reminder that he was not done with me yet. I thought, and I've been thinking that I'm not making any progress. Why aren't I healing? Why aren't I back at where I used to be? But today, that simple little app and that couple of maybe 45-second rendering that I talked to it about how I felt, maybe it was a little more than that because I tend to ramble, as you well know. I realized it isn't true. I just keep getting interrupted over and over again. So the progress is there. I have made progress. I have been building, and I will continue to build. I can't keep living waiting for the next interruption. I can't build a future around the fear that someone's going to be right around that corner to knock me back down. I have to build anyway because that's who I am. I've spent my whole life building businesses for other people, building systems, building relationships, helping other people build their dreams. Now it's time to build my own life. That doesn't mean I don't grieve. I do. I still grieve the life I thought I would have, that we would have. I grieve losing everything we built together. I grieve the loss of my stepsons. I grieve the years that trauma stole from me. But maybe grief and hope can coexist. I can acknowledge what I've lost while also embracing what I still have. I have my family. I have my faith. I have the ability to learn. I have my voice. I have purpose. Even though sometimes that purpose is hard to find, but I know it's there. God willing, it's there. He tells me it's there. I just hanging on. But most importantly, I have another day to try again. So maybe healing isn't about reaching the finish line where we're never hurt again. Maybe it can just be part of the story, like part of our story, like falling off a bike and getting back up and trying again. The pain is real. It's excruciating even. But maybe we can coexist with the pain long enough to figure out who we are without them, to reclaim our identity after it was trampled on and destroyed. The road is not linear. That's what everyone tells us. And it's true. It's true. But maybe the key is to just keep going. Just keep building. I think the road I'm on, or the road we're on now, is the road to healing. But it's also the road back to who I am, who you are. And that's a road worth traveling. So if you're listening today and you feel like you've had to start over more times than you can count, maybe you're not really starting over. Maybe you're simply picking up where your healing was interrupted. Give yourself some grace and then keep building. Thank you for listening to Lisa Out Loud. If this encouraged you, or if you've experienced something similar, I'd love to hear your story in the comments. Oh, and I am going to try to figure out how to put a link to Lisa Bailu's podcast with this Richard Grannon. And I'll try to figure out how to put a link to the movie and the Survivors playbook as well. Thanks for listening to Lisa Out Loud. This is Lisa, and I'll see you next time.